died when she was 12 years old, and her dad took her to her grandparents' house so she could stay with them, and they said no. And she became one of the greatest artists in history. Welcome to Something I'm Learning. It's my end of day chill down show for creatives like me who can't sleep. My name's Tag. I'm a songwriter, producer, not a professional of any kind. I'm not a mental health professional of any kind. Just an artist reflecting on life and learnings at the end of a given day. In other words, the more I learn, the less I know. Your mileage may vary. But if you are a creative, if you're a visual artist, if you're a digital artist, a songwriter, a choreographer, music producer, designer, painter, screenwriter, if you create things from thoughts, or even just aspire to, my hope with Something I'm Learning is to help you feel a little less weird and alone. Because as I've grown fond of saying, your job as a working creative is one of the most important on earth. You help people survive life. Because at the close of any business day anywhere in the world, after all the chips are counted, books are balanced, and children fed, everyone needs to feel something meaningful to know they were in here. And isn't that what great art seeks to give? Isn't that what your art seeks to give? What we creatives do isn't trivial. That's something I'm learning. So after her grandparents said no, her father took her to the next place he could think of, an orphan run by nuns. And she would spend the next few years of her childhood there until she ended up meeting this guy who was of some means, and she ran away with him. But while at the orphanage, she picked up some skills with a needle and thread. She was making clothing and mending garments, and started to get the hang of things. Once she had been hanging with this one dude for a while, I think if I'm remembering the story correctly, he had some sort of a shop. Or his connections in society allowed her to begin this thing on the side she did, making hats for wealthy women of society on the ground floor of whatever place that he had. And people started to like it, and the reputation started to get around. I bet that might give it away for you who I'm talking about, because from selling those hats one by one from those humble beginnings, she ended up convincing her guy friend to help her do a shop because the hats were becoming so popular. One thing led to another, and she's starting to do a pretty good business. And on one cold day in her town, she decided to make a dress out of this jersey material because she wanted to try something with a little more heft to it, being that it was so chilly outside. And everywhere she went that day, like, kids were asking her, like, where can I get one of those? And without stretching it out any further, she went from hats to dresses, and she went from dresses to bags, and she ended up at a time when the world was really starting to question the traditional roles of females in society, revolutionized what women's fashion would become. And in a way shaped the world through her artistic vision. I'm talking about none other than Coco Chanel, of course. She would go on to flip the fashion world on its head. Imagine that same little girl, 12 years old, with grandparents who wouldn't take her in her deepest time of need. By the way, she completely disowned and denied that family for the rest of her life. Like, she took great pains to sort of erase all of them from her records and her memory and her history. Obviously not the most healthy thing, but I suppose she felt it's what she had to do. But I find her story super striking from an artistic standpoint, because this really wasn't something that happened overnight. This was something that happened in stages. And she didn't have this super grand plan about, well, I'm going to end up the greatest women's fashion designer of all time. She started with, I got this idea for this hat. Like, just a hat. I think a hat should look this way, and I'm not seeing what I'm imagining in my mind. And so she created a thing from her thoughts, brought it into reality, live and direct from her imagination, and changed, if not the world, certainly a significant corner of it. And what strikes me most about her story, because there's so much more to it, and there's some really good documentaries out there about her journey, is that she just continued to create. No matter what hardship she was going through in her personal life, which was, by the way, no picnic at all. Compelling story. She just stayed productive. She just kept creating and creating and creating, You don't have to start off legendary or even great or even good. In fact, don't be good. Be productive. that's all artistic development asks of us, is that we're productive, and the good will come through repetition and constant creation. Good will come. Will great come? Perhaps. In fact, probably, I'd say, if we continue to create and stay productive past the level of good. Will legendary level come? Well, now that's not up to us. That's something for history to decide, where I end up, where you end up as an artist against the context of time. But we'll certainly get to be good if we don't so much focus on being good, but being productive. Our minds are magical that way. Do anything enough, and good comes. I don't have to be good until I'm good. Good comes. And once I'm good, then I have to be good. But I don't have to be great until I'm great. And then once I'm great, then I have to be great. And I have to stay great. And that's the quiet, troublesome burden of every star you've ever known. The sophomore slump, the second album, the dreaded sequel. But if you're not on that level yet, there's no need to be worrying about being anything but productive. If you're already good, or if you're already great, that's actually tough. Everyone wishes they were you. Everyone wishes they had your life. And yet they don't understand the pressure that comes with that once you reach the level of good or great. There's that pressure every time you release something else. Only other greats understand that, and they can't help you. Your fear is that the next thing you put out will only be good and not great, like you've gained the reputation for. But I'm not sure that's really the fear, whether it's going to be great. I think what the fear really is will other people agree with you that it's great the next thing you release? But if you're not at that level yet, it's kind of a privilege not to have to worry about being great or legendary. We just need to be productive. Don't worry about being good. Just make stuff and keep making it. That's something I'm learning.
receipt?
Yes, please.
Okay. Just sign this for me if you don't mind.
Till the next time we talk, I wish you grit. I wish you small dreams but big actions, which sometimes lead to the biggest dreams. I wish you your own chilly day that inspires something unexpected and new for you and the world. I wish you a way out, a friend perhaps, whom you've not met yet. I wish you a hungry audience for what you've yet to create. I wish you stubbornness to keep going despite everything. I wish you flexibility and openness of mind for new opportunities and new ways of doing things. I wish you the ability to forgive despite what people who should have loved you have done or haven't done. I wish you the last word on what your life becomes. I wish you 100,000 more sunsets. I wish you heart flutters and stomach butterflies. And the love you deserve. Keep rising.